All right. Once again, guys, I do severely apologize for the healthy amount of technical gremlins we've had here today. Hopefully this will be better. Hopefully we have left those in the past. Once again, I really do apologize for all the technical gremlins we've had here on stream. It's really unfortunate, and I really do feel bad because it's unfortunate because all these drivers are extremely talented and the broadcast should match that level of perfection, but unfortunately that just has not been the case here today. So I really do apologize. Hopefully this is the last time we'll have to do a tech restart, because we still have an hour and 20 minutes left to go of racing. So let's go ahead and just continue on. We'll see how everything is gonna go. So far, taking a look at how everything is played out so far, it looks like the closest battle right now is going to be between, actually it's a three-way fight here between Robert Kubica, Johnny Luna, and Marco Pavona here. It's going to be a battle for P4 on track, but the closest one is Marco Pavona and Johnny Luna now, as we're going to slip on board with the number 7 Toyota. It's going to be a mad dash. He was thinking about a move going into turn number 14, but just decides against it. There's better overtaking opportunities on this track than that, so he's just going to wait it out, try not to cause unnecessary contact. And this battle's looking super duper close. This fight is looking really, really good, so hopefully we'll be able to stay on board with this battle for quite some time now. This field is pretty close together in the early stages of this race, so hopefully it's going to be equally as good for you guys as it is for myself, and hopefully the stream can once again reflect it. I know we've had some issues here this afternoon. I do apologize. We're going to continue working as hard as we can to go ahead and make sure that the stream is perfect, or at least as perfect as it can be. But I think so far, I think we're all right. We're actually going to go... Oh, never mind. I was going to do a ASMR lap, but that is Dan Wilson getting a bit spun around there in the bus stop chicane. Oh, I wonder what happened there. That is a very unusual spot to have a crash. And we see Jonah DeLucia and Alex Afonso kind of getting into it a bit. They were side by side. It did look like Jonah DeLucia is going to go ahead and make that pass happen. So we'll see what is going to happen for the rest of this race. Alex Afonso shaking for the move as we go through a Rouge and Radion. Now on to the Camel Straight. And Jonah DeLucia is having a really solid race. He is currently up into P9. He started from the back of the grid. And I think we do have our first DNF, I believe, in our car that's been sitting in the pits for quite some time. That is Mikhail Frokov, our champion from last season. He did get lapped, or no, he didn't get lapped, but he is really far off the back of the field. I think it was that massive incident he had earlier on. So we'll see how everything is going to go ahead and continue to play out. We're actually going to go ahead and... Now you can watch from this driver's POV. I'm not sure exactly which cam it'll be. It'll probably be the driver cam, which is... Well, actually, that was a good look at the Lamborghini right behind it, but I believe it'd be... Well, here's that view of the Lamborghini again. It would be this view, I believe, or maybe from his actual driver POV. Check out that stream if you would like. It is currently live now, and you'd be on board with this driver as they race. And actually, Dan Wilson just shoots on through. He is up a position. He did gain a spot off of Jonah DeLucia there. Dan Wilson in the number 63 Lamborghini SC63 hypercar. Gets a little bit into the gravel there on corner action. Actually, Antonio Mendoza's been disqualified, so that's our first official retirement of the race. I know we did lose a GT3 car in there somewhere, but we are down one GT3 and one hypercar as Antonio Mendoza has been disqualified. That's an interesting one. Taking a look now further up the field, and Aslan Tahacho's really pulled away from this gap. It has really been interesting to see here that Tahacho's been able to pull away that hard. Lucas Nielsen trying to get stuff done in that BMW. Now, we know you can pull out some good results here. We got P7 here last time, or I think around P7 last time, in the Glickenhaus, which is a car not nearly as strong as the BMW he's currently in. So he's got a good amount of work to do if he wants to catch Bradley Kennedy. Speaking of Bradley Kennedy, we're going to try to switch on board with him. And there we go. After a little bit of a delay, we got on board. He is really fighting now with this Toyota. The Proton competition Porsche of Bradley Kennedy is going to try to make a move. He's going to send it up the inside. He's got Marco Pavona now, but a little bit of contact there. He's going to try to send it around the outside again. Gets it into the bit of the gravel. And Marco Pavona is just holding on to this position so tightly. He is doing everything that he can to hold on to that position. We're going to actually pop on board with Bradley Kennedy and get a quick ASMR lap through the rest of the lap, and we will be back. Alright, now they're about to see Bradley Kennedy go back through Air Rouge. And this is always such a fun car to sit on board with and enjoy some Porsche 6-cylinder ASMR. And wow, look at this gaggle of cars we have here. Starting with Robert Kubica, who is currently in the lead of this little gaggle of cars. Currently P4 on track. He does have quite a few cars behind him. He's got Johnny Luna, Marco Pavona, and Bradley Kennedy all for company. And actually, Logan Nielsen was, I think he was catching up there a little bit, and it looks like Kennedy might have actually fallen away from this battle a little bit. Yeah, Bradley Kennedy did fall away, so now it's just Kubica, Luna, and Pavona all battling it out for this 4th place position. It'd be some really good points here, as we do have some very solid points. It is 1.5 or 1.5 times the amount of points you normally get if under F1 ruling. Top 11 do get points in this situation. And so, I mean, at this point, if you're a hypercar, you pretty much just got to survive. Pretty much just survive, and you'll get at least a singular point. And, I mean, this is such a clean battle between these drivers, just not trying to do anything super risky in the early stages of the race, because a few other cars have had some moments earlier on, including a disqualification. And oh, we have a DNF here. Dan Wilson in the Lamborghini is out of this race, so that's another hypercar out of the running. So now if you do finish, you get points. Even though Mikhail Frokov is really far in the backfield, he is not where he wants to be. The defending champion, not having the greatest of starts to the season here in Season 2. He was a very strong force on the podium every single race but one. He did not get a podium in Monza, but every other single race he was on that podium. He did win the championship by a pretty good margin. He was 1 point away from winning it with a round to spare. But so far, the number 15 has just not had a very, very good race here today. We're going to ride on board now with Marco Pavona as he's still trying to chase down Robert Kubica here in that number 12 Hertz Jota Porsche. He's going to get close, but this isn't really a good spot to make a move unless somebody makes a massive mistake, and it did look like Kubica there ran a bit wide. And, oh, those cars are so close to each other that, I mean, you could barely fit a credit card in between those drivers, which is how close they are. Now they're coming, because especially if you're battling close enough to a rival. And actually, Bonalumi is out. So Michel Bonalumi is out of this race, so we're down to 3 GT3 cars. So, I mean, it's a guaranteed podium for everybody now, as long as you finish in this GT3 field. So that's another breaking development here in this race. And we're barely even 45 minutes into this race. It's crazy how fast 45 minutes actually flies by. Actually, we are a little bit over 45 minutes through this race, and we've had 3 DNFs and 1 DNS. So, yeah, this is shaping up to be a peculiar race here in Spa. But once again, we're going to just go back, and the Congo line of hypercars that we're seeing here. Robert Kubica, Marco Pavona, Johnny Luna, and Bradley Kennedy are all. He's going to try his best to continue to do what he can here. Try to get close, try to get everything done, trying to make up positions to try to score as many points as he can for BMW. Oh, and there's a spin there. That is Johnny Luna, I think. Yeah, the number 3 Cadillac getting spun around. Unfortunate stuff here for the Cadillac. I guess the WEC Cadillac curse does translate from real life to the sim as well. Cadillac just not having a great run here today. One Cadillac got disqualified, another one just had a big moment there. And now there's one less car in this group of hypercars trying to battle it out for the lead here for the lead of this gag, I should say, because the front 3 are just well gone. But actually, heading over to Jerome Lenorand in the Peugeot, he's actually going to try to catch up. He's pretty close, or he was about a second behind Mark Santos here, the winner from the last round out at Imola. So we'll see if the battle of the French cars is going to happen once again. I mean, we do have a Frenchman in a French car, so that's always awesome to see. And he did catch up a little bit to Mark Santos there. So that Peugeot has definitely got pace at this stage of the race. Now, it is worth noting that every driver has about 16 sets of tires, I think 16 tires in total that they can run. So 4 sets of tires for each car. So management is definitely going to be the name of the game here. But I think with the practice session, and I think they really only would have used 1 tire set in qualifying. So I think in general, I think these drivers should be fine, but do not expect a multi-stop race unless something goes seriously wrong. It's a bit of an ebb and flow here, but we're going to actually swing back to Lucas Nielsen here as he tries to chase down Bradley Kennedy here in that Proton Porsche. It is German on German racing action here around the closest thing that the German drivers have as a home track, and we'll see how everything plays out. We're going to actually hop on board with Lucas Nielsen now, just do a little bit of an onboard lap here. It won't be a full ASMR lap, but it will be an onboard lap. Let's get a better camera. There we go. That's a good camera that we can go ahead and use. And this is a good perspective here. He's taking these corners a bit tighter than Bradley Kennedy, though. But with Bradley Kennedy's car positioning, I mean, it's good for defense, though, because it's just enough where the gap doesn't exist. I mean, I know they say that, you know, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, then you are no longer a racing driver. I know that's a quote that has been used quite often. As we do have a bit of a yellow flag, which is interesting to say the least, but should be cleared up. Actually, I'm curious on who that actually is. Gonna take a look and see. It did get cleared up now. I'm not sure who that was actually. I guess the world may never know why there was indeed a yellow flag. So we're going to actually go ahead and switch up the view a bit. We're going to go ahead and split it once again. So you just see the top 5 cars in each category. Well, actually, in this case, if you're the GT3 cars, top 3, because you don't even have other cars remaining in this race. So it is currently your your race leaders are Aslan Tahacho in the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport machine. And then Philip Smolka in the Team WRT number 46 BMW M4. Making his way. I mean, he's been such a consistent driver. It's a kind of a shame that our GT field is a bit on the smaller side today in today's race. We know at Imola they had some really intense battles here and there. It's been really fun to watch. Absolutely enjoy watching these drivers go head to head in these GT3 machines. And that's the thing I like about these current regulation of endurance racing, like with the hypercars and the GT3s, because there's so many different cars. And I mean, one of my complaints with the LMP1s is that like the manufacturer's like personality wasn't really able to be shown because the cars had such a specific way they had to be designed. But now there's a good amount of character in each car. The cars are a lot more identifiable at a glance, unlike the LMP1 cars. So I mean, just taking a look at our first and second here in this category, I mean, you could definitely tell even from the body shape that the Alpine is a bit more angular and a bit more sharp, kind of like a hammerhead shark compared to the flatter Porsche. So, I mean, and then you also have this thing that honestly could probably pass as a muscle car from the front bumper alone in the number 93 Peugeot. So there's just so many different body styles and stuff that actually makes this feel like they have more of that brand identity with them as opposed to previous generations. And we can even look at Lucas Nielsen now. I'm just trying to battle Bradley Kennedy now. These two cars going wheel to wheel. A little bit of a touch and go moment there between the two, and the Norwegian driver is up into P6, and now he's going to try to chase after the Alpine of, or sorry, that's the Toyota of Marco Pavona. He's going to try to chase him down, going to try to make everything work. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. See if he can actually get that move done, but it's still an hour and 6 minutes left to go of this race. So still plenty of time for these drivers to make moves, to make things happen. But I think what's happening now is that the drivers are just really in a rhythm. They're really just kind of settled in, and they're just in a rhythm. They got their flow going, and they're just kind of, you know, unbothered in their lane and flourishing. Although you might be a bit bothered if you are Robert Kubica now, who is under attack from Marco Pavona in that number 7 Toyota. Think about shaking for a move. He decides, well, I think he did try to make that move there, but just can't really make an overtake on that corner there. Once again, Marco Pavona gonna try again. There's a bit of contact and a spin. It's a big spin there for Marco Pavona, and that's another incident. Another incident there. He tried to make the move up the inside, got spun around, almost collected Nielsen, but did collect Kennedy, and oh man, that was a bit of a rough one, I will say there. Bit of a rough one. Yeah, really unfortunate there, though. I mean, it's good battling, I mean, but that just is also a testament to how hard these drivers are really trying to push out. They're trying to push with every fiber of their being, and ultimately, sometimes you just push a little too hard. And something I was going to say earlier is, you know, going off of the Ayrton Senna quote of, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, then you're no longer a racing driver. The thing is sometimes a driver might identify a gap that's not even there. The best drivers can really identify when there is a real gap, and then they can go ahead and go for it. But there's some gaps that they're kind of like mirages in the middle of the Sahara Desert. They look like they're real, they look like they exist, but when you get close enough, you'll realize that it's not actually there. It's just a mirage. And that is what I think Marco Pavona just kind of learned, that there was a gap that really didn't exist, and he got collected and spun around. So unfortunate there for the Toyota man. Very, very unfortunate. We're actually going to go ahead and drop down to our GT field. Gonna go ahead and show some GT3 love here as we're on board with Nico Perez, who's gonna pull over a bit to let the race leader on through. So on board now with the 155 Dutchman of Nico Perez in that Ferrari 296. We'll see if he can continue to try to close that gap. I think he's also kind of in a management mode because Philip Smolka is just so far away right now. I mean, this GT field has really spread apart, although it's not super hard and it's not unbelievable, really, considering the fact that we are at one of the longer tracks on the calendar. 7 kilometers almost. It is 7.004 on the dot. So just barely under, or barely over 7 kilometers straight. But it's pretty easy for these cars to go ahead and get separated at that kind of point. Now, Lucas Nielsen did graduate up into the top 5. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hypercar. So just to show you the entirety of the hypercar grid. So we have had 2 tops qualified. Still waiting to see on what the reason was for the disqualification, but then we have Dan Wilson, who has retired, and then Mikhail Frogov 2 laps down, followed by, or he is following Jonah DeLucia, who is currently in P10 at the moment. And then we have Alex Afonso, who's trying to battle a wounded Bradley Kennedy, who got a bit collected in that moment earlier with the man now on your screen of Marco Pavona. Had a moment earlier on, Johnny Luna in that Cadillac. Kind of benefited from the moment earlier. And then we go to our top 5 of Lucas Nielsen as we hear the Cadillac go up. And Lucas Nielsen trying to promote himself to 4th on this onboard battle with Robert Kubica here. Let's see if Lucas Nielsen's going to do it. He's got the straight line speed. We know that BMW is really good on straights, and he does have the move done. Clean and simple. Very solid move there from Lucas Nielsen. He will move up into 4th place, and then going to our top 3, we have Jerome Lenorand still trying to chase down Mark Santos. And then Mark Santos, who is behind of our race leader, who has had a very fantastic race here, and Aslan Tahacho. Excellent stuff here. Now, taking a look at the GT3 field. Go ahead and take a look at this field right now as Philip Smoka, our race leader, does let Jerome Lenorand through to continue his battle with Mark Santos. We're going to go back down and take a look at Nico Perez, who is currently in 2nd place. And Chris Campbell, a driver we haven't really seen a lot of. The American driver currently he's in last, but it's still a podium spot, so he'll still get full podium credit for getting 3rd place. So as long as he finishes this race, he will have a good championship standing. And then Michelle Bonalumi in the Porsche, who unfortunately had a retirement. But anyways, we're actually going to go ahead and do an ASMR lap with this Ferrari, because we haven't really been on board with Chris Campbell all race. And we have been here for about 30 minutes now. And we're going to do a quick ASMR lap on board with this 296, and we will be back. Alright, so that was a good amount of ASMR on board with the number 54 Ferrari of Chris Campbell now. And, I mean, it's always good to show love to all these cars, because, I mean, whether someone's in a hypercar or a GT3 car, these drivers are talented. It takes skill to drive. And this field is really just spread out quite significantly here, so go ahead and just bounce around from car to car. But yeah, I mean, so far it's been an excellent race, and I think we did actually get all those tech gremlin settled, which is nice. Yeah, I really do apologize that the first bit of the race was interrupted by some tech gremlins here. But I think we got them all sorted for now. Hopefully that's not a commentator's curse coming my way. I think that'd be one of the first times in history that a commentator's curse affected a commentator itself. So, yeah. Hopefully I didn't just commentate a curse myself. That'd be super unfortunate. But, yeah, I mean, so far now this field is really spread out. Actually, we do have a bit of a battle here between Alex Afonso and Bradley Kennedy. Now, this would be for P8 on track here. Alex Afonso in the number 94 Peugeot, and then we have Bradley Kennedy in the number 99 Proton Porsche. We'll see if anything can happen here. I mean, this is the spot where we saw Marco Pavona get spun around earlier. Mark Santos has actually navigated through these corners quite nicely, so no major issues for him. And actually, Mikhail Frokov has officially called it quits. He's officially called a DNF on himself. And actually, I did realize we had Gabriel Mara as well earlier on in a Ferrari, but that's another DNS. So we've lost quite a few drivers here in today's race. We lost 2 before the race started, and so far we have lost 4 during the race. So now the top 10 are the last remaining drivers in this field. And it's a guaranteed podium as long as you finish in the GT3 category, with Philip Smolka leading the pack by a pretty healthy margin. As we're going to go ahead and switch back to just the switchback. So now you've seen where everybody is overall. Now we'll see where everyone is respective to their classes. And 17 seconds ahead for Philip Smolka. We'll actually take a look at the gap to leader. We'll see how far everyone is off that lead driver. And so far, I mean, yeah, wow. The top 3 are the only ones within 10 seconds of Aslan Tahacho. And I mean, Philip Smolka's just had a dominant race here in the GT3 category. So actually we'll take a look at the energy remaining, although this will really only affect the hypercar. So we'll take a look at them, see how much energy each of these hypercars has remaining. They're all about relatively the same. Joseph Lenorand is really on the struggle bus there. He is only on 20%, but still not at a marginal disadvantage. Still actually pretty close to, you know, being, or he's on the lowest in terms of the virtual energy. It doesn't really affect the GT cars, so we don't have that information for them. Unfortunately, maybe in a future update we'll see how much fuel they can have. But we're going to be just chilling out here. Actually, we're going to move up the field a bit. There looks like there is a battle possibly about to brew here between Robert Kubica and Johnny Luna. Let's see if the Cadillac's luck will be a bit better this time, as he is trying to chase down. He's trying to chase down Robert Kubica here in that number 12 Hertz Jota Porsche. The number 3 Chip Ganassi Cadillac, trying to make moves happen here. Cadillac Racing they've been needing some solid points here. It's not been the easiest of seasons as Robert Kubica goes off into the gravel. He holds on to that position. A bit of an unsafe rejoin in my opinion, but I think he'll get away with that one. And it looked like Johnny Luna had his chance to overtake. It looked like he had a good shot to overtake. We'll see if he can make the overtake now. He's got to try to get done before the bus stop, because I don't think there's really a shot to overtaking the bus stop. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. Is he going to try to go deep? Is he going deep? He thought about going deep, but he decided to reel it back in a bit and stay in the race, because I think he probably heard about, or maybe saw what happened to the Toyota from earlier on and decided, you know what? There's a better shot to overtake him later on. And that shot might actually be coming sooner rather than later, as Johnny Luna is going to have a slipstream going up a Rouge and Radeon. So we'll see if he can make the move happen here. And then obviously the Camel Straight's a really good spot to overtake. Oh, getting a bit wide on corner exit there for Robert Kubica, but he does come back across, trying to defend from Johnny Luna. But Johnny Luna's got the straight line speed. He had that slipstream, and he's going to have to move. Johnny Luna's now up into P5, but he's not going to have it for long, as Robert Kubica is fighting tooth and nail to keep this position, and he keeps it. Wow. I was not expecting him to keep it, honestly. That was impressive Impressive and aggressive driving there from Robert Kubica there in a Hertz Toyota Porsche. And now a little bit of a wiggle from Johnny brings Marco Pavona into this fight. So Marco is going to try to get something done here. He maybe is going to try to get a 2-for-1. Pass one, get one free. Trying to activate some pogo deals here. As we see the number 40 or 54 Ferrari of Chris Campbell just getting a front row seat to this intense battle here. This is not even for a lead or even for a podium spot. This is all for P5 and P6 at the moment now, as we're on board with Marco Pavona taking a look at that front bumper camera. Sometimes the preferred view of drivers occasionally. So it's interesting to see, like, that's just another thing too, is that every driver has their own different driving style, their own different driving preferences, and even just their camera usage sometimes, because some drivers do prefer this camera view. And it's a deep dive into the bus stop chicane, and we saw it. He saw him set up the move and get it done. Marco Pavona is now up into P7, as Johnny Luna now is going to try to regain that spot, but soon Alex Alfonso is going to come to the party. He wants to join in on this swapping of positions here. We're going to actually go on board now with the Cadillac of Johnny Luna, who's trying to get a better camera as he goes through a Rouge. Interesting to see that view, just to see how much closer Alex Alfonso got, but this is the view that we really want. We want to see on board with this Cadillac. He's going to try to shake for a move, but once again, that Toyota putting himself in such a good defensive position. He may have compromised his racing line ever so slightly. There might have even been a bit of contact between Johnny Luna and Marco Pavona there. The Toyota and Cadillac may be touching a little bit there. Just giving a gentle little love tap there. And sometimes that is the case, but you got to be really careful not to punt your opponent off into just the ether, essentially. So, interesting battle here. I mean, the crazy thing is that this battle hasn't even really been for the lead. It's just been for, it's actually mostly for P6 and P7. So 5th, 6th, and 7th are really just trying to battle it out here to get more positions or try to defend the position that they're already in. And it looks like Robert Kubica might have went wide there on the exit of that corner. I believe that was turn 13 that he got a little bit loose on now. So, I mean, this has just been an interesting race here from start to the 50-minute mark. We're only a third of the way through this race here, ladies and gentlemen, and there's still a lot of battling here to go. Is Johnny Luna going to try to get around the outside of Marco Pavona? He did on the straight, but then the bus stop chicane happened, and you really got to hammer on the brakes there. It's probably one of the hardest braking zones on the track. He will go ahead and hit the brakes there, but just could not. He got the pass down on the straight, but just could not keep it under brakes. Johnny Luna's, like, he's been trying to make in these positions, but the drivers in front have always just had such solid defenses that there really isn't much that it could have been done there. We're going to go on board now with Marco Pavona. Actually, let's get a rear view on board with this man right here, Robert Kubica, so we can kind of just see from his rear wing all of the cars fighting it out behind him. See if the Cadillac can get them done. He keeps trying to go around the outside. The outside does become the inside on this set of corners. Does he get it done? No, he does not. He might even lose another position there. So we'll just have to see if the Cadillac can get it done. But Alex Alfonso is thinking about maybe trying to get a move done here. He wants to move up the order himself. And actually, we're going to slingshot up ahead. As once again, we do get a reminder that Tahacho and Smolka are our current class leaders as it sits right now. Going to go ahead and actually pop up to the other Peugeot of Jerome Lenorand, because he has seemingly gotten pretty close to that Alpine up ahead. So this is a podium spot battle. We're going to see him fighting for that second step of the podium, and I mean, there's still about 5.5 seconds, well actually almost 6 seconds away now from the race leader of Aslan Tahacho. Another yellow flag, unsure what that is for. Go ahead and try to cycle through the cars here to see, maybe we can find out who that's for. Don't think, oh, it's Jonah De Lucia! Jonah DeLucia is on the track there in the Alpine. I wonder if he's going to call it. He might just be waiting for a spot. I'm trying to see what that is. Oh, that's right in front of the pits. And I mean, he's waiting for a good chance to back out. He is a lapped car now at the stage, so he is backing up a bit. Maybe he was trying to go for the pits and just locked it up. I wish we had replays to see what happened there. He is going to come into the pits. And yeah, that was really unfortunate there for Jonah DeLucia. Maybe we'll have to see that from his POV at some point. He does have a POV stream up. If you guys would like to see that from his perspective. It is currently live right now on this same YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, because we do races here every single week. And coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the United States, we do have our next round of F1 Group 1. Should be a banger race with some really solid commentators, so be sure to go ahead and check them out. Drop a like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the racing here that Lightning Speed Racing does provide, whether it's Le Mans Ultimate or F1. We are constantly on the track doing some good racing, and you guys are definitely not going to want to miss it. Like, we're still seeing this battle here for P5, or actually, yeah, P5 on track at the moment, between Robert Kubica, Marco Pavona, Johnny Luna, and Alex Afonso. And there's a Toyota going wide, making some overtakes off track. He'll probably have to give those back. I'm surprised that he hasn't already, although granted that's not the spot to really give the spot back. But Johnny Luna did slingshot to 5th place from that moment there. A few cars going wide. So he actually, maybe they don't have to give the positions back. I figured they would, because I think that was an overtake done off track, but maybe they got away with it. But yeah, unfortunate there for Robert Kubica, kind of losing out in that battle. I mean, he kept his cars behind him for so long. Just incredible. And now we see them all navigate through this bust-up chicane, and actually we see a pit for Robert Kubica here. He's going to make a pit stop. We'll see what he does in the pits. And this is a bit of a longer pit lane, so he's going to stop in this box. Now the game does kind of reset you sometimes whenever you get a little too far ahead in your pit box. So I think that's maybe what happened to him, to Robert Kubica there. Unfortunate, but sometimes it just happens. Actually happens quite a lot in this game if you don't get within millimeter perfect of your pit box. We'll see what he's going to do. I think, actually, we're probably going to see a lot of these drivers making pit stops here soon. And here we go, side by side between Alex Afonso and Marco Pavona. Alex Afonso does get the move. He does move up into P5. But we know soon a lot of these drivers are going to have to make pit stops. We're going to go and take a look at the energy remaining and see. Yeah, I think a lot of these drivers are probably going to pit in this lap and next lap at the latest. So it's going to be really, really intense here as we are officially halfway done with this race right about now. So we are down to the second half of this race here. Just going to go ahead and run you through your standings. You can see the Hypercar standings on the left side of your screen. As we go ahead and take a look, actually we'll take a look at the gap to leader just to see how much of an advantage he does have. Actually, Alson Tacho and Mark Santos are pitting in now, so those are your top two drivers at the moment. Lucas Nielsen currently sitting in third. He still has yet to pit. A lot of these drivers are going to pit, so we won't go into too much depth because we know this order is going to switch around as we get to the halfway stage of this race. Now taking a look at GT3, we are still down to our 3 surviving GT3 cars. We have Philip Smolka now 28 seconds ahead of Nico Perez, who is currently sitting in second place in that number 155 Ferrari. And then this fellow Ferrari currently in P3 at the moment, the last position, but it's still a podium, so he'll still get full podium points. So it is the podium points that you would normally get for P3 in Formula 1 times 1.5. So 50% more points if my math is correct. I think it is. Although math has not been my strong suit in recent times. But we'll see how this affects the championship, because I think this is going to be a really, really good points paying race. And obviously we have our essentially our big money race, our big point race coming up here soon when we go ahead and head to Le Mans. So it's going to be really, really awesome to see. You guys are going to definitely want to make sure you guys are subscribed because, I mean, we have so many awesome races here. We got races in F1, Le Mans Ultimate. It's going to be super duper fun. Can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. I mean, we have so many very talented drivers here at LSR. It is incredible. Some of the best drivers in Le Mans Ultimate. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I know you guys are not going to want to miss anything. And I mean anything. I was actually looking for the schedule. Looking for the schedule. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing it anywhere. There we go. So actually, yes, we are headed to Le Mans next week. Next Saturday, starting at 12 p.m. noon, unless we take a spontaneous gap week, which is not on the schedule, but maybe we will take a spontaneous gap week. I'm not sure. We did last time. We did take a 2-week break in between, or around the last round of the last season, which was at Fuji. We did take a 2-week break in between the final 2 races. So maybe we'll take a break again. I'm not sure. I don't have that information readily on hand. I'm sure we will get it at some point. Taking a look at these gaps here, ladies and gentlemen. Gonna go ahead and take a look at the top 5 in each category now, as I think the pit stops have wrapped up. So we have 2 Peugeots in the top 5. We have Jerome Lenorand and Alex Afonso, P3 and P5 respectively. And then we have Robert Kubica and Aslan Tahacho in P4 and P1 respectively for Porsche. And then the lone Alpine, at least the lone Alpine in this top 5, currently sitting at P2. But this gap, all these gaps are really spread apart. Except for this battle right here. Oh, there's so many cars here. This is incredible. Lucas Nielsen looking for a move onto Alex Afonso. Is he going to try to get it? But it's so hard to overtake on this bus stop chicane. Does he have it? He's got it. That's an excellent move there from Lucas Nielsen. Try to get the move done into the bus stop chicane. He tries and he succeeds. What a pass from the Norwegian driver there, Lucas Nielsen. Incredible stuff there in that BMW. Now, we've seen him make a lot of very strong moves in the Glickenhaus of all cars too, because we know the Glickenhaus isn't nearly as competitive as the BMW is, but he made magic happen. He got a P7 here for Glickenhaus, and he's going to try to actually improve his position up to P4 in this race. We know that BMW straight line speed is no joke. I mean, we know the BMW straight line speed is absolutely insane. I mean, it just always seems to pull away when you get it on a good straight. And it does so again. Lucas Nielsen promoted to 4th. Now we have 4 cars in the top 5. The Porsche is still the only double manufacturer in this top 5 here for the hypercars. So it is just such good battling as we see. I think Alex Afonso did put a wheel into the gravel there. Trying to shake for a move onto the Porsche, but to no avail. And now this battle is really just between these drivers here. Go ahead and take a look at the 1v1 here between Robert Kubica and Alex Afonso. The best lap time is actually 1.3 seconds faster for Robert Kubica. He's had good pace here, but he's just usually been getting caught out by some of the battles here. The last lap time was an 8-second difference, although I think that was definitely due to pit stop differences, because Kubica did pit in a lap earlier. And now we're just taking a look at this gap between these two. We're actually going to go ahead and drop down one to take a look at Alex Afonso and Marco Pavona. Once again, as they navigate the bus stop chicane, they're going to be so close to each other here at this part of the track. We're actually going to do another quick little ASMR lap on board with these cars, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Good amount of tire screeching there as we ride on board with Marco Pavona. Curious to see who that was. Maybe that was actually Pavona himself. I think it was actually Pavona himself now, as he did fall quite a ways away now from this group. I mean, yeah, very interesting stuff here from all these drivers. We know these battles are going to get super duper intense here as we're down to the last 37 minutes of this race. And another yellow flag, so there's more yellow flags being flown here. Although that yellow flag was quickly fixed up. Although we're seeing a lot of drivers run wide there on the exit of the corner there. So I mean, I know that's a very high speed corner that they're taking, but it's just seems like in general just going super duper wide. Oh, he gets close, but not quite enough to make a move. It's so hard to make those overtakes happen in the bus stop chicane. Which, yeah, it's not an easy thing to do in general. As we're going to go ahead and just get some extra... Oh! Robert Kubica! Onto the grass, onto the gravel. He saves it, though. He saves the car, but loses the position. He'll probably lose another position from Bradley Kennedy, who might have got a really good onboard as he goes ahead and gets through. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out here. But it seems like Bradley Kennedy is still trying to chase down Robert Kubica now, who did make a mistake earlier and allowed Marco Pavona to really run free with this. And now the gaps have really spread out here for this hypercar field. So I'm going to go and take a look at GT3s here, get some GT3 love on stream. And, oh, actually, Nico Perez is out of this race, too. So Nico Perez has had a DNF. So now there are 2 GT3 cars remaining. It's now just Philip Smolka and Chris Campbell. I wonder what happened to Nico Perez, though. That is unfortunate that we've had another DNF here. This has been a lot of DNFs here in this race, which has been pretty unfortunate. We've had 2 DNSs. We had Gabriel Mara and then William Stickley not getting around to starting the race. And then we've lost Antonio Mendoza, Michelle Bonalumi, Dan Wilson, Mikhail Frokov, and now Nico Perez. Only 12 drivers remain in this race, and we're about two-thirds of the way done with this race even. So it's just really interesting that we've lost so many drivers in this race. I'll do some investigative work, see anything about what happened there to Nico Perez. Actually, we can see if we can actually jump on into a quick little interview with him momentarily, because he is in the LSR Racing channel. See if that is something that can get done and dusted. Oh, never mind. He is no longer in that VC. Never mind. Ignore that. We'll see, maybe he'll pop in the chat and say what happened, or we'll figure out somewhere. I mean, obviously, after a moment like that where you do get hit with a DNF, obviously you're not in the best of spaces to chat. I know, especially if it was like you made a very massive mistake and it ended up just ruining your race. I know sometimes drivers can be very heated. I know I would be. I wouldn't particularly want to talk to anyone if I was in that situation, so I would get it if Nico Perez wasn't really in the best of moods to chat. But if he does come and chat and say he wants to have an interview, we will go ahead and get that done. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and let the podium sitter from Sebring go, just let him cool off a bit, because sometimes, I mean, you really just need that as a driver. You just need to take a deep breath, chill out, and just get back into it later. Especially if the incident was a particularly frustrating one. We're going to go back on board with Marco Pavona here, as he did close the gap to about a second, but it just seems like that the Peugeot just seems to have a little bit of a better time on the straights, although there's definitely some kind of visual damage on the front of that Toyota, so he's probably not getting the maximum amount of airflow that he normally would get in that Toyota Gazoo Racing Toyota hypercar. So, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting race for him, but, I mean, it's just been a race in general. Well, yeah, no kidding. It's been an interesting race in general. A lot of DNFs, more than I actually would have expected. We have 4 DNFs, a DSQ, and 2 DNSs, or did not starts. So, yeah, it's unfortunate here that we've had so many incidents, but sometimes that is indeed racing. Maybe we'll see at some point, although probably won't figure out until afterwards, but hopefully it won't be an issue that the stewards are going to have to take a look into, because I know sometimes those incidents are pretty annoying. Honestly, stewarding is, at least in my opinion, not an enviable position. I'm sure there's some people that absolutely love being a steward, but I certainly am not one of them. I prefer to be right here in the commentary box providing you the race here and just talking about the race and what's going on. I prefer being in the commentary box aside from the steward's room. But right now it looks like Alex Afonso he's in a good pace right now. I think in general, I think it's just pace management between these two. As we take a look at the gap between them, it's less than a second now. We know that the Toyota's got really strong aerodynamics, but I think there's a bit of damage for those aerodynamics, so I don't think that that car is operating at its peak window. We know the Toyota had its moments last season, but it just seems like they haven't really been able to get off to a super duper strong start this time around. So actually, we're going to go ahead and pull up the driver's standings as of right now. So right now, in the lead is actually Mikhail Frokov, but he is out of this race. Aslan Tahacho, who is currently our race leader in hypercar, is actually looking likely to take the lead of this championship if he can finish this race. I mean, he's got such a big gap to Mark Santos behind. Speaking of Mark Santos, he is in 3rd place with 38 points. He might also be able to jump Mikhail Frokov here in the standings. And then we have Alex Afonso, Jerome Linerand, Antoine Ponset, Marco Pavona, Gabriel Mara, Lucas Nielsen, Bradley Kennedy, Jonah DeLucia, Jacob Kuban, Dan Wilson, Antonio Mendoza, Johnny Luna, and Daniel Krebs in the hypercar category. Those last 5 there not having scored any points, and I think the only ones that could score points in that category right now would be not Daniel Krebs. It would be Johnny Luna would be getting his first points of the season alongside, actually, I think he's the only driver that can actually score points that doesn't currently have any on the board. So it's just his number 3 Cadillac, and actually, he is currently, he's currently in 8th place, so it won't be the most points in the world, but it'll be points. It'll jump him up several positions at least, because there's a few drivers that don't have any points at the moment. And then taking a look at our LMGT3 drivers now, as we're seeing Philip Smolka about to lap Chris Campbell. Andre Ferreira, he's currently in the lead of the championship, followed by Michelle Bonalumi, Nico Perez, Nick Schick, Francesco Chavez, Namaj Rajkovic, Dennis Moranka, Philip Smolka, Byron Thompson, Lucas Kaiser, and then William Stickley. So that is our championship sits at the moment. Byron Thompson, Lucas Kaiser, and William Stickley yet to score any kind of points. Although none of those 3 will be able to score points here today, unfortunately. And just to go ahead and give a bit of a look towards the rest of the season, we have Le Mans up next, followed by the Circuit of the Americas, Interlagos, 2 new tracks to the season calendar. Portimao, which is making its points race debut. It was the prologue for the inaugural season and the first race we actually did here for Le Mans Ultimate. And then we wrap things up once again in Fuji. So Fuji now is the last race of the season once again. That race provided a lot of good action, and to me it's a really good season finale. So we'll see how everything kind of plays out. We'll see if how many positions are going to change throughout the season. The championship was almost decided a round early last time, Mikhail Frokolov was, I think, only a singular point away from actually getting that championship. And oh, now we got Nico Perez in chat saying, oh no, that's what happened to him. Oh, Nico Perez just running out of fuel there. And actually, Nico, if you would like if you'd like to chat for a little bit, I will go ahead and jump into a Discord VC with you, and we can go ahead and get your thoughts on the race, and also just ask you a few questions if you are open for a little on-the-spot interview. Just let me know in chat if you would like to pop in to do a quick little interview. I believe that is something that we can go ahead and get going. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just, racing in general can just sometimes just be such a gamble. And I mean, we talked about, you know, earlier the quote from Ayrton Senna, if you no longer go for a gap that exists. And we talked about the calculation of identifying if a gap exists. But, I mean, there's so much calculation that goes on in racing. That's one of the reasons I do really love this motorsport. I mean, there's calculations on fuel, there's calculations on pretty much everything, anything and everything. There's always just going to be some kind of calculation that goes into it. And sometimes it could be a risky calculation, or it could be a calculated risk, but sometimes the math just does not math. And we see there, it looks like maybe a bit of a lockup or a little bit of a snap there from Johnny Luna, the American driver in the number 3 Cadillac, trying to put points on the board for the first time this season. And it's very, very interesting to see how the rest of this race is going to play out. We'll see if any big change is going to happen. We're actually going to go ahead and ride on board with this driver here. We'll actually get a good on board here as he tries to chase down Johnny Luna in the number 99 Proton Porsche. Not sure why I rolled the R there, but figured that a little bit of a flair to it. And he's just trying to chase down this car. I mean, the gap is only about 0.2 seconds, 0.2 of a second now. Is he going to try to send a move around the outside? He thinks about it, but he has a little bit of a check up there. Doesn't quite get it done and dusted. He's going to put pedal to the metal, and he's just going to slam it down. He's going to go for it. He's just going to full send, full speed. Nothing quite yet. I was just waiting to see if there's going to be anything happening, but actually going up a bit further up, we have a battle here currently for P5 actually between Alex Afonso and Marco Pavona. So curious to see if anything's going to happen. And statistically, according to Nico Perez, if he would have finished this race, then he would have been in the lead of the GT3 Championship, which is so heartbreaking. But it's only race 3 of the season. We still have about another 6 races or so to go. It's a pretty long calendar here at LSR, so you still have a lot of chances to make those improvements and jump up those championship standings. So that's the one thing too, is this: you can't win the season in one race. You have to win via consistency. Consistency is what wins championships. You can win one race and then just have a abysmal performance for the rest of the season, and you are not going to get that championship no matter how many times you try. You got to be consistent. You got to be, well, yeah, that's basically it. You really just got to be consistent. Consistently quick, consistently on track. So yeah, I mean, it's a point I'm going to drive home quite a bit, but consistency is what wins championships. All right. Just going ahead and get this chat set up for Nico Perez. See if we can get him on in here. So we're going to go ahead also, in the meantime, we're actually going to go ahead and switch to the GT3s as we go ahead and take a look at the fellow Ferrari of this category in Campbell. So hello, Nico. Obviously not the race you were expecting to have. I know you had some good pace, but unfortunately you just cut it a bit too close to with the field. So walk us through how the race was for you up until that point.
Fun, mostly.
Awesome.
I actually did lead a few laps.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, definitely not the race that you would have wanted to have. And like you said, if you would have finished this race in any of these top 3 positions, or any position in general, because we only had 4 cars here in the GT3 category for today's race, you would have actually been leading the championship. But the biggest points paying race of the season is next week at Le Mans. So how do you feel about that track?
Well, I hope to score then. Not gonna make the mistake of running out of fuel again.
Yeah, especially because Le Mans is, I mean, it's the longest track on the calendar by quite a healthy margin. It's about 7 miles in length compared to Spa, which is about 7 kilometers, or only 4 miles in length. So, yeah, I mean, and there's also the Mulsanne Straight, which is going to chew through fuel, so. So, how are you feeling about the rest of the season? Are there any races in general that you're kind of looking forward to? Any races that you're not looking forward to? Just kind of give us, like, your thoughts and your optimism and not so optimistic views on these tracks.
We have Le Mans remaining. After that, we have Portimao, I think.
Actually, I think it's Coda next. I think Coda's the next one.
Oh yeah, Coda. That one is not on my bucket list because I don't like the first sector. And then we have Portimao, which is a fun track. And then Fuji.
Well, Interlagos is in between Coda and Portimao, but yeah, I got the rest right.
And I know one of those races, or at least one of those races, will be a rain race again.
Oh, we know the chaos from Sebring last season with the rain and all that stuff. It was just chaos. I mean, so many cars losing grip on some corners on a track that's already slippery and bumpy to begin with. But do you know which track is actually supposed to be scheduled for having a little bit of rain?
Not yet.
If I were to put money on it, I would say probably Portimao, or not Portimao. I would probably say Interlagos would probably be the one that gets rain. But I don't know. I'm just making a random guess. Obviously, you guys and the rest of the Le Mans Ultimate Management will go ahead and figure out which track. Another thing that I would like to point out is that while the order was decided by you and the rest of the Le Mans Ultimate staff, but the calendar overall, like the tracks that were picked, were decided on mostly, if not entirely, by the drivers themselves.
Yeah, entirely. Except for the pre-season school track of Sebring. That was actually the only track which didn't get any votes.
Yeah, I can kind of see why. It's such a short track, but it's been here for quite some time. But hopefully we'll get him back for the next round at Le Mans. It's going to be a fun race. So, I know you said Coda isn't on your bucket list, but what is your favorite track out of the tracks that we're going to have here in this season?
Probably Portimao.
Alright. I'm actually going to cut you off really quickly. I know you didn't quite start talking yet, but we have a battle on board here. Actually, here's another random question. You want to be an honorary co-commentator for today? Since you're unfortunately out of this race.
No, it's not really good for today, because I'm already not in the game anymore.
Well, I can always share you my screen if you want, but if you don't, that is perfectly fine. I know, especially after a heartbreaking race, drivers would like to cool off.
Well, so it's maybe we can do it in the near future.
Alright, and actually we saw a little bit of Marco Pavona having a little bit of a moment there coming out of La Source. So he's going to cede that position to Alex Afonso. But before I get too knee-deep in these battles, I want to thank you, Nico Perez, for popping in and just giving us your thoughts just about and answering a few of my random questions for you. And best of luck to you next week at Le Mans.
Bye!
That was Nico Perez, everybody, the driver of the Ferrari. The unfortunate DNF because he ran out of fuel, the number 155 Spirit of Racing Ferrari, unfortunately just not having the race that he would have wanted. But there's always other races that he can make a comeback in, and there's a few cars that were actually quite close to each other, but I think in general it's just a few moments actually just kind of separated them, so now there's not really any super close gaps. So let's go ahead and see, we'll see if the positions getting lost actually comes up. Nope, and unfortunately we still don't have that functionality working for this. We'll see what tires everybody is currently on for this category. And, oh, so Santos is actually running the mixed strategy of the back set of tires being on the back set of tires, I would say, on the hard compound, and then the front set being the mediums. I think that's correct. I know we kind of questioned it last week because there was, I think, one driver that was actually running that split setup. So, interesting. We'll see if that plays out. And still about a good 16 minutes left to go on this race. We'll see if, actually we're about to get down to the final 15 minutes. There is a bit of a yellow flag. We'll go ahead and try to pick through and see who is causing that yellow flag. Maybe Marco. I think Marco, because Marco might have had another moment there in that Toyota. That's Bradley Kennedy does get past 4P6 on track. Bradley Kennedy, the South African driver, making another move in that Proton Porsche. We're going to actually do one other ASMR lap. We're going to go on board actually with this battle here. So we're actually going to go ahead and get the rear view camera up, take a quick little ASMR lap, and we will be back. Oh, it's a big spin there in the backfield. Oh, it looks like he might have collected someone too. Another big moment there from Marco Pavona. I think he did collect Jonah DeLucia there. And that bit of a spin coming out of the bus stop chicane. He's going to try to go for a dive. Can he make it happen though? He does make it happen, although it is fair to say that DeLucia is a lapped vehicle. So actually now we're going to go switch up a few positions. It's a battle for the final podium spot here as we're down to the final 13 minutes of this race. Jerome Linderand and Mark Santos battling it out here. This is for the final position, or this is for the second and third spots on the podium. Can Mark Santos hold on to this lead and improve his chances in the championship? It looks like Jerome Linderand's going to try to go around the outside. Who's going to get it? He's off the bus stop chicane. Lots of bumping and contact. There's so much contact here. And it looks like Jerome Linderand is going to go ahead and get ahead of Mark Santos. He is going to go ahead. get the move done, but this battle is far from over. It looks like Mark Santos now, once again, these cars are fighting tooth and nail, trying to get everything, every position. They're going to battle out through A Rouge. Who's it going to be? Who's going to take this one? And it looks like Jerome Lennerand is going to try to make that stick for now. In that Alpine is definitely going to fight tooth and nail, trying to get that spot back. The Mechachrome V6 in the back of the Alpine. A254 is going to just burn rubber. He's going to do what he can. He's going to try to get close to that Peugeot 9X8. This is going to be the battle we're going to stay on board with for a while, because this is a big podium spot, and these two battling is allowing Aslan Tahacho to just run away with this race and potentially up into the championship leading position here at round 3. So it's all to play for here. This is just going to be such an intense moment here for the rest of this race. You love to see it. You love to see how aggressive these drivers are getting. Fighting for every position. While there is no prize money involved with LSR, there's no like monetary benefit. It's not like whoever is going to get P3 is going to get like $7,000 or something more than the driver behind them. But this is just for pure bragging rights. This is for pride. This is for championship position here. And the knowledge that you are a podium sitter at LSR. This has been a really strong performance here. Jerome Lennerand has started to really pull away there. Maybe the Alpine has a little bit of damage. I wonder if that will be investigated by the stewards later on. I'm sure the moment where DeLucia got collected a little bit there by Marco Pavona, I think that one might be investigated, but we'll have to see. We're going to go ahead and switch it to the GT3 cars to once again give our GT3 driver some love. We're on board with Philip Smoker now as it's down to the last 10 minutes of the race, as Bradley Kennedy is going to swing on by. Obviously have a lot of respect for Philip Smoker, but he's also been very, very consistent here at LSR. He did get points on his first race in the Van Wall, actually on our season finale last season at Fuji, and on a track that really has one of the longest straights. And a car that's not really favorable for top speed in that Van Wall, having one less gear to everybody else, and ooh, that was kind of a dicey moment there between himself and Marco Pavona there. Pavona going a tad wide there. So, I mean, this has been a very intense... I mean, this race has had its peaks and valleys. Intense in some cases and not so in others. But, yeah, I think that last lap battle, I think this pretty much just kind of sealed all these other positions here. I think in general, I think we pretty much just sealed all these positions. Now it is down to 10 minutes, but then again, anything can happen in racing. And as long as these drivers finish, they're all going to get points. And I mean, it's big points for the GT cars for finishing the race, because they're going to get first and second regardless. So it is a guaranteed podium for Chris Campbell and Philip Smoka in the GT category. And then points go down to the top 11 for this race if they finish, and there's only 10 hypercars left in this race. And we have currently lost 5 drivers on track, and then 2 drivers before the race even started. We had 2 DNSs, unfortunately. So the drivers that we lost due to a DNS are William Stickley and Gabriel Mara. And then we have lost Antonio Mendoza, Michele Bonalumi, Dan Wilson, Mikhail Frokov, Nico Perez, and that is our drivers who have not finished the race or got disqualified, which I'm still really curious to hear about the DQ of Mendoza. Curious to see how that one came to be, but we are down to less than 10 minutes left to go, 8 minutes on track. So probably a good another 4 laps, and then this race is done and dusted here. We'll be done and dusted here at Spa-Francorchamps, and then it'll be next time and actually it'll be next time we'll be at Le Mans, the 2.4 hours of Le Mans. It'll be a fun one, I can guarantee it. But before that, we actually have 3 F1 races, 1 today and then I believe 2 tomorrow. So, and we see Chris Campbell going a bit wide there, trying to get out of the way of that Peugeot up ahead, and Mark Santos now going to try to get past him as well. Just losing a lot of time, though, to that car up ahead. So Jerome Lenorand is going to get a really good finish here in today's race. That'll definitely severely improve his championship standings. We'll see. So actually taking a look at it, Jerome Lenorand is currently in P5 in the standings. 23.5 points. He got some points in Sebring, got nothing in Imola, and then Spa should jump him up a bit. So we'll see how everything is going to play out. We're going to do one final quick ASMR lap. We're actually going to do it with our current race and soon to be eventual championship leader. We'll do this quick little ASMR lap, the final one of today's race, and we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are down to the last 5 minutes of this race. We'll go ahead and run you down our champion, just how everything has been for this race, and just give you a rundown of our current standings. We have Aslan Tahacho, who's pretty much just dominated this race from start to finish, and then we have Jerome Lenorand, currently in P2 after a very intense fight with this man right here, Mark Santos. And then we have Lucas Nielsen, Alex Afonso, Bradley Kennedy, Marco Pavona, Johnny Luna, Robert Kubica, and Jonathan Lucia, our last surviving hypercars in this race. And then we have our 2 surviving GT3 cars of Philip Smolka and Chris Campbell, with the fastest lap in each category belonging to, let's go ahead and see. Gotta go ahead and do some quick math right here. And actually, Jerome Lenorand does have the fastest lap so far in Hypercar with a 2 minute 1 second .590. And then in the GT category, it is Philip Smolka with a 2:22.639. So those are our fastest times of the session right now. Right, and then we've had 5 retirements and 2 DNSs. So we'll see how everything is going to go ahead and play out for these drivers. Tahacho is still currently leading this race by a pretty healthy margin, about 7 seconds. And yeah, now all these drivers really got to do is just bring it home. About 3 minutes left in this race here at Spa-Francorchamps, and then we will conclude round number 3. You guys are definitely